Welcome to Inside Saudi,
the podcast where we talk about life, family, style, and culture inside Saudi today.
I'm Vesna Petrovic.
And I'm Carly Overman. Welcome to this episode. We are going to be talking today all about your guide to moving here. There's so many people who reach out to us who are planning to move here, maybe in the next couple months, maybe in the next couple weeks, maybe this year. And so this episode is for those people. It's your guide to moving to Riyadh. It's everything we kind of wish we knew, that we kind of researched and cobbled together. And so we just wanted to put it in one succinct episode for you so that you just have it to hand and it's easy.
Step by step.
Yeah. Because there were definitely some hiccups along the way. Visa hiccups, passport hiccups, appointment hiccups, things taking longer than we thought they would.
Yeah, we've experienced it all.
And Saudi's,
so we just want to share.
Yeah, and Saudi's changing so fast. The processes are changing. Things that took months and months maybe only take weeks now. So we just thought we'd share an updated version. So this is relevant to anyone moving to Saudi right now.
So we're going to be covering visas, passports, compounds to live in, areas to live in. We're going to cover it all.
Yeah.
Just a basic, go-to.
Yes. We're also going to cover how you find a job here. This has been a question we get in our social media all the time. We're going to cover it. And we do have some answers for you.
We do. Sorry, and it's such a hot topic.
Yeah.
There seems to be a lot of interest and a lot of people that want to come here. So
yes. I don't blame you.
It's a very hot question.
Yeah, we're going to answer it. So let's get into it. And we're going to kick off with visas. So basically, the main worker gets an Iqama. That's their visa. They get it when they're in Saudi. And then the family and the children, the dependents, get their dependent visas. So generally, the timeline, the steps of what happens is you get a job offer. You get your medical done over in the country you're living in. You get your kind of visa issued. You fly to Saudi. You do another medical. And then you get your Iqama. So that's kind of what happens for the main visa worker. But what happens with the dependents? What happens with everyone else? We're going to get into it because we actually did two different routes. And so I think this is interesting because this is what a lot of people debate. Should I do it the way I did it?
One or the other.
Or the way you did it?
Yeah.
And that's stay together as a family or split up and not have to travel as much and do as much flying. Yeah. So there's some documents you definitely need for this whole process. You need marriage certificates. You need birth certificates. You need, passport photos, so many passport photos, not just of you, but of all your children. Even if you have a baby, you'll need their passport photo.
Yeah. A valid passport.
Valid passport.
So another thing you'll need is your police certificate. It's just like a police clearance stating that you have no criminal record.
Yes. And then you'll need certificates for your degrees. And sometimes you'll need those stamped.
Yeah, you need them authenticated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's quite a few documents you need. And so if you are going down the road, I would just start getting those things because you will need them. I didn't have to provide a lot of those things. I did need a police background check, but I didn't need to get my degree certificate, whatever, because obviously I'm not coming here for work. I needed the medical testing, but some of the things I didn't need. Actually, just the degree certificate I didn't need. Everything else I did.
Yeah, I did everything else except for that. Yeah.
So we're going to dive into the two routes. Why don't you start with how you did it, and then I'll dive into how we did it.
So my husband got the job offer. He did all his medical tests, submitted all his paperwork, got everything authenticated, and then he moved over, and we kind of decided as a family the best thing to do, considering we were coming from Australia so far, not to go back and forth. It was kind of on the cards, you maybe come and have a look at the place and sort it all out and then come back and leave the kids, or you all come at once. And I was kind of I've got so much stuff to do at home, I'll just come when it's all ready, you know. So that's kind of what we did. He came over, as soon as he got here, he pretty much got sent off to do another medical because you need to get your Iqama when you're here.
Yeah.
So he can't start the process of us coming over until he has his Iqama. Yeah. So he did that and then started our process. And
how long did it take? Include once he got here, how long till he got his Iqama?
It was, I think, within a week.
But
he came here during Eid and Ramadan, so it was a little bit delayed.
On reflection, maybe it would have come a week later.
Yeah, so it was kind of like a week, but maybe like 10 days or so. But it is what it is with all the public holidays, you know?
Yeah, what people need to know is during the public holidays, things are shut.
Yeah.
Everything is shut.
Yeah,
Like,
especially during Eid.
Yeah.
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 So we got all that ball rolling. I was back home. I realised that my passports were kind of only had a year left, but we'd already submitted all our paperwork with the visa consultants to do it.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a bit late to renew our passports because I'd already given them all the documentation, all the passports and passport numbers. So we just kind of left it, kept going with the paperwork.
Once your husband, so he got his Iqama, what did he do? He requested the family visa appointment? Or he started the process of
started the process of, so we could then we already submitted all our paperwork in Australia through the visa consultants, but they couldn't submit it until he got his Iqama.
Right. Okay, so they submitted it at that point, once he had his Iqama.
Yeah. And we were kind of thinking, you know, within a month we'll be over. Like it's kind of, that's the timeline we got, that's what we'd planned in our head, and we're kind of working towards that, but things didn't work out.
Yeah.
We ended up being apart for 3 months. We came after 3 months.
Why was that?
They input one of my son's passport numbers incorrectly, and then that was incorrect in the APSHA system here.
Yeah.
So even if we did come, he would have been declined because his APSHA and his passport number were not matching, and it's all linked. And that's the visa as well.
So what happened? They sent you the visa. At what point, like how far into the process, and you realized it was wrong, the passport number?
So we went to Canberra to do our fingerprinting, and then they told me it was wrong.
Okay.
Because we had to go twice.
Okay.
So we went to do our visa appointment, get our fingerprints, and they're like, sorry. That was a few weeks in.
So like a month?
We were on schedule.
On schedule.
We were on schedule to come here within a month, and then it all went wrong.
Do you think you could have stopped that from happening, like, or was that just totally out of your control? Maybe if you had checked what they were submitting or something, like if you'd been more on top of the visa agency, or just for like other people who might be in this situation and how they can.
We submitted the right information, from our end, but it was input in the system wrong. Yeah. So my husband didn't see it until the APSHA was updated.
So you couldn't have done anything.
So you couldn't have done anything. It's the person that was inputting the information in the system that made the mistake.
That's annoying.
Yeah. So we went to Canberra, like I explained before in an earlier podcast.
Yeah.
And they told me when we got there, they said, sorry, we can't do it. I tried to get just, me and my 2 other kids to get theirs done and come back with the third later on. But because it was a family visa, they were all linked. We had to do it all together.
Yes.
So we had to go back home, and they said within a week it would be ready. But we waited like a month and a half to be called back.
Really? And you couldn't do anything
No, you couldn't do anything to speed it up.
My gosh.
And then when we went back again, it still wasn't changed, even though they'd said the system had been updated. And
was this on the Australia side it was messing up, or the Saudi side?
They're both linked.
They're linked.
They're linked.
Okay.
So they were supposed to change it here on the Saudi side. But it takes a while for them to update it.
Right.
And then the visa consultants were kind of pushing for it, but they weren't allowed to do it because it has to be done properly from this end.
Yeah.
So I got to Canberra the second time, and they were kind of like, I was told that it was all good.
Yeah.
Because I said, I'm not coming if it's not ready.
This is a 5-hour flight?
Yeah.
A 5-hour flight for both of these?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was a red eye because they'd promised me it was all good.
Yeah.
So we left at like midnight to get there in the morning for our appointment. Then I get a phone call as soon as we landed, and they're like, sorry, it's still not done. But I still went to the appointment because by the end of it, I was done. I was like,
I have to yell at someone.
I kept my cool. I went there and they just said, oh, look, sorry, it still hasn't been. We thought it was done. I said, well, how do you mean? What do you mean you thought it was done? Like, you're making me come with 3 kids by myself twice and it's still not done.
Yeah.
And then they kind of went back and forth and they said, ma'am, we're going to try and sort it out. Yeah. And somehow miraculously they were able to do it from their end.
How were
in Canberra.
Is it because
they had to get permission?
Oh, okay.
Yep. So they went to like back and forth with Saudi.
Yeah.
And they explained the situation.
And they got
Then they had to
permission.
get like email confirmations, written confirmations that they were allowed to do it from their end. So obviously it could have been done the first time. But
Yeah. Okay. Well, this is good to know because,
Yeah.
like, if you push hard enough, who knows? Maybe it's not possible.
Yeah.
But maybe.
But I think in my situation, because that was the second time I was going,
And a 5-hour flight twice with 3 kids, like.
it just wasn't acceptable, really.
Yeah.
So
I think the learnings from that is like, it's out of your control, but like obviously submit the right information, triple check it. And then whatever your visa agency has, because sometimes I know in our process, they would send us things like, this is what we're sending.
Yeah.
Triple check that too, just to make sure
definitely check all the paperwork,
everything.
because it's just like one digit.
Yeah.
I think they said if it was like a spelling error in the name, that was fine.
Yeah.
But because it's a passport number linked to your visa,
Yeah.
that was just
Yeah.
a deal breaker and it wasn't going to work. Yeah.
But eventually 3 months later,
We got here.
you got here.
Yeah. So I kind of hoped I wished that I got our passports renewed.
Yes.
If I knew that it was going to take this long, but I
Yeah.
didn't. And then we got here 3 months later, and then I realized you can't travel with your passport unless it's got 6 months validity.
Yes.
So my passport was expiring in February, which
Yeah.
is like in 2 months, 3 months. And I had to go through the whole process of doing that here, like for me and my kids.
And then it has to be linked to your Akama, so that's another step.
Yeah, but that was pretty simple. I thought it was going to be a lot more complicated, but I just sent the passport numbers to my husband and he could log into Absha himself and change it all.
Yeah.
So that was pretty much an instant.
So I think that, yeah, it's like it might take, so you went and you separated, and obviously, because we heard it could take as little as 6 weeks, but it's like, for me, I was like 6 weeks with little kids. We don't live near family. We don't live with like help. I have a little baby. I have a 3-year-old. They're both very full on. It was just didn't feel like an option. Like even 2 weeks apart is hard, like let alone 6 weeks. And I was like, what if it takes longer? And, you know, based on your story, and I've heard many other stories as well from people from where we live, some people have been apart from their family for like 5 months.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
And it could take, you know, less time, but it could take more time. And as long as you're okay with either end of that spectrum and that
You've just got to be prepared.
Yeah.
Like you just never know how long it's going to take or what could arise or what issues or errors. But you've kind of just got to do what works for you and your family.
Yes.
At the end of the day, I'm still happy. We all got to be together after 3 months. Yes, we didn't get to, you know, it wasn't that month process that we thought.
Yeah.
But things like this happen and you've just got to be prepared.
So for our family, we just decided it was a way better route to go together, stay together. We came on tourist visas. You can get a 90-day tourist visa. We had previously come for a week, so we could only come for 82 days. And so we decided, let's do that. The part that takes a long time is getting the family visa appointment in Saudi. It doesn't take a long time to get the appointment in London, where we were doing our next appointment. And I assume it was the same for you, because you could get pretty quick appointments in Canberra.
Yeah.
So that's probably going to be the same for whatever country you're coming from. It's the Saudi side that tends to take longer time to get the family visa appointment. So we decided to all come together. Same thing. My husband got his Iqama, I think within like 4 days. It was quite quick. And so it can be very fast that they get them, obviously if there's no breaks or anything like that. We did everything back in the UK. So I got my medical testing done there. I did all that kind of stuff because it's valid for a certain period. I can't remember exactly what the period. I think it's up to 6 months it's valid. So we knew we'd be back to do it in that time. So I got my medical testing done, my background checks done. Obviously, same process. My husband got all his paperwork done. It was all with the visa company that's helping us with the relocation. So they had all our documents. One tricky thing, obviously, because my visa wasn't processed, our kids' visas weren't processed, we had to make sure all our documents stayed in one place. And we've heard that mail can be tricky to Saudi. Yeah. I had a text from my aunt the other day and she said, "Have you gotten your birthday card yet?" I'm like, "No." And my birthday was in August. And she's also very far in advance thinking. So she definitely sent it like so mail can be tricky. So we didn't want to send like important original documents in the mail. So that was one thing we had to consider. We left a lot of documents with the visa agency, and then anything we needed back here for the family visa appointment here, Matthew got one of his colleagues from London to bring them with him to Riyadh.
Oh, very smart idea.
Yeah, so that's how we did it. And probably if you're moving here, you probably have a similar situation, maybe. So we got here, we stayed on tourist visas. We ended up getting a family visa appointment for October 19th it was. I actually remember the exact day. And we arrived on August 26th. So it took a good amount of time to get that appointment. And my husband was also checking every single day to see if he could get an earlier appointment because we were trying to like go as quickly as possible. Eventually we decided we would plan it on a break to go back for my daughter's school. And so that date timeline kind of worked out for us. But then in the end, life happens. Our whole family got influenza A. My kids had ear infections, and so we couldn't fly. So we had to not book those flights, not go back at that time. That was fine. We kept our family visa appointment here in Saudi. We did it, or my husband rather did it, to take all the paperwork with him, etc. And then we booked our London appointment for later in November. So we actually just got back from that trip and did it. And so basically our visa person met us at the visa office. Did that happen with you too? Did you have a representative meet you there?
No, but the second time they did because of the issues. Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. It felt like we were doing some kind of like CIA operation. So it was like pouring rain in London. He met us there. He was in like full rain gear. He like had all our paperwork in like this plastic casing. He's not allowed to come in to help us with anything, but he's like, if you need me, I'll be here. And he's like standing outside waiting for us.
Service.
Yeah. And so we got all our paperwork. We went in, they went through and checked it. It has to be like in a certain order. And so that's why it's just important that like, that's why it is such a CIA operation. Like they put it in order for you, they keep it together. And so we took it in, they checked it all. It was in order.
And you did your fingerprinting there as well?
Yeah. So then we walked through to do our actual appointment.
Yeah.
And so we did our fingerprinting. I actually have a Canadian passport and my kids have British passports, and I have a different last name than my kids. And so I wasn't sure if any of this would cause issues. And I was really nervous that because we're in London, not in Canada, there would be an issue with mine. And so we actually had two separate appointments, one for me, one for the kids. Normally, a family visa appointment is all together. Ours were separate just because of that. The passports, not the last names. But in the end, they just did us all. He did us together, like as two separate appointments. It was absolutely no issue. So that was a relief. And it just went, we did our fingerprints. We did all that kind of stuff. And we were done within like 15 minutes.
Oh, wow.
And so we did it on a Friday. And by Monday, we had our visas issued to come here. Back. And we're still waiting for our commas. So it's been about a week.
Yeah.
And so we're still waiting for our commas to be issued now.
Yeah.
So that's how it went for us. I mean, the one thing you need to watch out for if you have kids is, will the schools accept them on a yellow slip? So my husband, when he gets here, he was able to get this thing for us called a yellow slip. And we had to do some negotiating back and forth, but our schools accepted us with that.
Yeah.
Obviously, my daughter's only, she's not in school your age. She's still, almost 4. And so they were able to, but I think it was an exception. I remember when we came and toured, I'm sure that some international schools said they would accept a yellow slip. But then when we got here, it became an issue. And so I don't know. You have to check and you have to really clarify that.
I would really check that. I'm not sure because we didn't go down that process.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure. I think every school will be different. And like you said, you'd probably need to negotiate and have all your paperwork ready. And
yeah. That would be, if I was in the same situation again, I would probably still come. And I would, if I couldn't get them in school, I would just, get a nanny, get on top of getting a nanny. You can start to coordinate that from wherever you are. You can find a nanny agency. You can start to speak to them because that process as well can take up to 2 months. Or it can be really quick. We did a really quick version and paid more money. But if I was to do it again, that's what I would do. Having little kids, but obviously if you have older kids who need to be in school,
you really need that
that's a
help and
different
support.
thing.
Yeah, I definitely would have stayed the same route, even though we had complications. You know, like I said, these things happen and you've just got to deal with them and pivot at the time of the occurrence. But I wouldn't have taken them out of school to come here and then had to fly back all the way to Australia. My headspace was, I just want to be done. I want to leave and not have to worry, because I know if I'd come here, I wouldn't have like packed up the house. I wouldn't have sold everything. And then I still would have kind of had that lingering on the back of my mind. This way I kind of felt like I'd sorted it all out and I was starting fresh. I was coming to a new country and I didn't have to worry about anything back home because it was all sorted.
Yeah.
And the schooling as well. I didn't want to pull them out of school being the age that they are, and them losing school over there and not being able to come to school here as well, because it's a lot for them to miss out on.
Yeah, I think that's, at the end of the day, that's what it is. With older kids, it's a little bit more manageable back home for you, because you're not having to change their diaper. You're not having to wake up with them all night. Yeah. Well, at least most of the time, probably.
And they were going to miss school as well, because we got here and it was summer break. So they had 2 months off. If we were in Australia, they would have been at school. They would have only had a 2-week break, because that was it's not like our end of year break. Our 6-week break is Christmas, New Year, you know. So
did
did miss.
They like missed some weeks of school.
Well, yeah, they left halfway through term.
Yeah. And
then they went on an 8-week holiday.
And are they like, was it fine for them to do that in the end, or was it a...
Well, yeah, we were relocating, so it was end of term here. And
do you wish that you stayed in Australia a bit longer and let them finish, or do you...
No, because I think 3 months apart was enough.
Yeah.
And they needed to come here, and I wanted them to adapt to the lifestyle, to the climate, meet some kids, and feel comfortable being here before they started that new life, the new school. You kind of want them to be comfortable. You don't want to just throw them in the deep end. And
yeah,
you know, you've got to find that right time to merge. You can't just
I think at the end of the day, like, whether you're older kids, like, I mean, definitely with younger kids, you want to get back together as a family as quickly as possible. Like, I've heard some people who've been apart for like 5 months, and I'm like, I just can't. That's really hard.
And some people don't even want to come here. Like, they find that happy medium living apart and just visiting each other. So there is those options as well. Like, some families don't want to relocate their whole family. They're happy where they are.
Yeah. I think I would have, I guess, like, you know, everyone has a different situation.
Definitely.
So yeah, those are the two. I think if you have younger kids, the route that I did makes a lot of sense.
Definitely.
And even if you can't start school, you can get a nanny. And you can get one quickly. You just need to find the right agency. You might have to pay a little bit more for those first few months. Or you can start that process while you're home. If you want to like get someone from another country and bring them here, which is a route a lot of people take. And it's a good route to go down. If you have the time and you can wait those 2 months, I would start that process while you're back home as well.
Yeah.
Don't wait till you're here, because they're abroad anyway, so it's not like you're going to be able to meet them in person. And so I would just start that process. So hot tips.
Really hot tips.
Hot off the press.
So hot tips. My hot tip would be, make sure your passport is renewed, that you have a good amount of validity on it. Like, don't do what I did and come with a year validity, because it's only really 6 months.
Yeah. Like, honestly, if you have the time back there and it's 2 years till expiry, I would probably get it renewed.
Yeah.
I'm in the same boat. Mine's going to expire in the next year. I have 1 year now. It's not ideal. I wish I had Vesna's hot tip. Okay, so my hot tip is, and it's actually my husband's hot tip, there are cancellations for those family visa appointments. So if you're like desperate to get your family over here and you're... Check daily. You can, as soon as you have your Akama, you can go in, you can check daily on those family visa appointments. There are cancellations, you can check them. Second hot tip. There are different kinds of visas, work visas, You know, we all have heard the thing, you can't leave Saudi, especially if you're a woman. You've probably heard this, like you won't be able to leave Saudi. Well, maybe. So you got to check what kind of visa you have.
Yeah.
But it's not as scary as you think.
No, it's click of a button.
Yeah. So I have an exit re-entry visa, and my husband has an exit re-entry visa, and so do my children. So we've tested this. We go to the airport, we just leave. There's no approvals required. There's no nothing. That's that. I guess it's the easiest option. It's what you're probably used to living in any country.
Yeah.
But you have a single exit visa.
Yes. So I need to apply every time I want to leave, and you need to pay to exit.
And so you pay 200 SAR every exit.
Approximately, yeah. My
Yeah.
husband has to just log on and approve who's leaving.
Yeah.
And that gets put in the system. He gets issued an email with a document that he forwards to me, and then I just show that at the airport.
Yeah. And so for your husband, it's his work has to do that for
His
him.
work, yeah, but his is a longer period of time. So his, I think, lasts for 6 months or something, and then he gets it renewed
Got it.
because he travels quite a bit for work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So does he have to, he just gets one approval and he can go anywhere with that?
I'm pretty sure, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then for you, it's like 90 days?
Yes, he has to reapprove ours.
Okay. And
Yeah.
then, so every 90 days, if you wanted to go to Dubai and then to Canada, you can use the same one? You're not sure?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I know that we did go to Dubai over the weekend, and
Yeah.
he had to pay for us to leave, and we did get our...
Okay. But it's easy. It's super easy.
It's super easy.
Yeah.
It was a click of a button. It's all done online. You get your email sent to you. You get your documents saying, look, you're approved to leave. You have to be back within this period of time.
Yeah.
It's all in writing. It's very simple.
Yeah. And how long did it take once he like sent the thing? Like, did it come through instantly or did it take a couple hours?
I think it was a couple of hours.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it could be that you're at the airport, you forgot to do it, and it might be an issue. So you do need to think about it.
And that's what's happened to me before.
Yeah.
He did lodge it, but I think he paid for it, but he didn't lodge it.
Yeah.
So luckily he did pay for it, because payments have to be done online, and they have to be done, I think, via savings. So not like credit card. I
okay.
think that's how it works.
Yeah.
And then he didn't click submit, and I got to the airport and I couldn't leave. They said, look, you can't go.
Oh my gosh.
And then I quickly called him and he submitted it. And
Yeah.
within about 10 minutes, just had to like move to the side for about 10 minutes and stress whether I was going to make my flight or not, because we were running late anyway.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it all worked out.
Yeah.
And that was for our summer vacation when we just got here.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, it was fine.
Yeah. But yeah, it is, there are different types of visas. And I think it just is like a slightly different cost. For my husband's work, they were just like, which one do you want? And it's like, well, obviously the exit re-entry one. And then for some companies, it'll be company based and whatever their policy is. And it's not a big issue.
So there's also Premium Residency, which is where you're a premium resident in Saudi Arabia and you don't need to be linked to anyone. So you can, open your own business without having a Saudi partner. And it's just a little bit more free flow rather than having these other two options of visas. So it just depends what your work offers you or what you're eligible for.
Premium residency, you're not likely to be offered that straight off the back. Maybe once you get here and you've been working, maybe you upgrade to that. But I wouldn't go into a
negotiation. And there is a
negotiation.
cost associated with it
A big
as well.
cost.
A big cost, yeah.
So like probably not straight off the back, your work is going to offer you that.
Definitely,
So don't be
yeah.
worried if you're not getting premium residency.
But it is an option for later on down the track, and you can get it yourself if you want to. And I know there's like yearly ones or like more permanent ones. So it just depends what suits you and how you want to go about it.
Yeah. So jobs in Saudi. So we've had a lot of questions about this, and so we wanted to answer it. We've kind of not answered it because we aren't working.
We are not working.
But we we can give it a little bit of our experience because our husbands have gotten jobs here. We're very involved in that process. And then I actually almost got a job here. And so I can talk about my experience and how I've found offers here. Because I think some people just see Riyadh and they want to relocate here maybe, or maybe the wife wants to start working here. And so we can kind of give our 2 cents. So in my situation, my situation and my husband's situation, it's a matter of working for a really big global company. And if you're working for a big global company, they're probably looking at Riyadh. What's happened recently is if you were doing business in Saudi from Dubai, now you need to have an office in Saudi because they're not going to do that anymore. If you're doing Saudi business, you need to have an office in Saudi. And so a lot of companies that previously were Dubai based are now moving to Saudi.
Here. Yeah.
And so that's part of why you're seeing so many people relocate here, probably. So that's kind of that avenue. You can work for a global company. So for my husband, it was moving from Dubai to Saudi, opening more of a presence here. For my company, we already had an office here, and I just looked at roles here because similarly, maybe we had an office here, but we need to now have people in this market, more people in this market. Saudi's also a massive market, and they're growing so much. Like as you probably already know, Vision 2030. There's so many projects happening here. So if you're working for a global company, probably they're looking at more of a presence in Riyadh or Jeddah than they were previously. And so for me, there was opportunities here. They didn't line up timeline-wise exactly right. And by the time there were opportunities for me to relocate here, we were already doing this. And I was kind of like, you know what? I think I'm going to just do this for now. And so that's kind of how it went for me. But there were opportunities to look at jobs here. I think something to know is like in certain fields, they're only hiring Saudis. And so in comms, marketing, PR,
HR, recruitment,
they're hiring Saudis. Yeah. But what I've seen is that if you are up for those more senior roles,
yeah,
then there's more of a likelihood that
there's an approval for that.
Yeah. And so some of the jobs that I was looking at here with the company that I was with, they're looking for a senior role. They already knew who I was, I had a proven track record there. And so they would have been willing to approve like probably a more specialist situation.
It was a no-brainer. You didn't need to relocate. You were already here.
I'm already here.
They know your expertise.
Yeah. And it's not like a junior comms role. I don't think I would have ever gotten a junior comms role in Riyadh. It's only going to be for those higher level roles. So that's just something to know. Like if you are relocating here, you're kind of like a mid to low level starting out in those.
Yeah.
You're probably not going to get a role here just because of the Saudization and But so that's kind of our experience. What was your family's experience?
So I wasn't going to work here.
Yeah.
My roles are Saudized. Marketing, HR, recruitment, all of them.
Yeah.
And that was fine. We discussed it before we came here, and I was just going to be a stay-at-home mum, focus on the kids, focus on their schooling, and just make sure they were okay. I was not really interested in getting a nanny because my kids are a little bit older, so I was kind of happy to just, be a stay-at-home mum. And my husband, he got pinged on LinkedIn. So I know that's a big thing here as well. Like, if there's job offers, you're going to get something on LinkedIn. Something will come through. Didn't really think anything of it. But hey, we're here.
So there's kind of two routes that we've seen. It's like you're kind of a senior person and you get headhunted because you have a very specific expertise.
Yeah.
They need that expertise. Or maybe you're working for a global company. It's kind of those two kind of routes.
And I think it's easier than doing the whole recruitment process again and, trying to find someone. You've already got people that are specialized in those fields. You've got people that great work ethic. Yeah. You don't need to go through the whole recruitment process because, as you know, the visa, the recruitment, it all takes quite a while here. It's not something that just happens overnight.
Yeah.
So having someone that, is willing to move that you already have in your company, it's a no-brainer. It's so convenient.
So those are the two routes that we can speak to. I think it's going to be, I've heard a lot of people in our comments saying like, I've been trying. If I was you, I would start working, I would try to get a job in wherever you are based at a global company that has presence in Riyadh, or maybe will grow to Riyadh. You could ask that in the interview. Yeah. And it would be a long game situation. I think it's going to be tricky to just cold pitch apply for something. over here,
I
because
don't think it works like that here.
no, I don't think you're going to get something, because I think they're going to, if they were going down that route, we're going to look at local Saudis.
Yeah.
We're going to look at the job market here.
Yeah.
We're not going to look at people from the UK just cold pitching here. So I think you're going to have to play the long game. You're going to have to apply for a global company over there and see if you can then relocate here. So as Vesna kind of said, you got to be on LinkedIn. Make sure your profile's looking good. Us, for this podcast, we're actually going to launch on LinkedIn, because there's a lot of people on LinkedIn that aren't on TikTok. They're not on Instagram. They want this info too. So LinkedIn's important. Networking is important. And there are a lot of networking events here. There's a lot of like women's events. There's, there are different ways to network. Even for us, we've gone to women's events. We've been invited to other women's events, and it's great. You meet
And I think if we were on LinkedIn, we would have a lot more opportunities as well.
Yes. I've actually been reached out to on LinkedIn by some people here. It's great to be like, I'm actually just like pursuing my own thing right now, but there's a lot of opportunity here for sure. But yeah, you got to put yourself out there. And I guess this is an example of it. We're not looking for work. We're just pursuing this, but we're putting ourselves out there. People are seeing our skills, and
it's more professional.
Yeah. And we are getting some inquiries that way, and we're not even looking. So I think if you are looking, like, put your skills out there, be on LinkedIn, go to the networking events. I think the other thing to consider is maybe touch on the packages and how they are maybe not what people expect.
Expat packages, whatever you may want to call it now, they're not the same. They're not the same as what they used to be probably, 5, 6, 10 years ago. Nowadays, I think they're just trying to, reel them in and make everything a bit more even for everybody. So not everyone's getting, the cars, the schools, the compounds like they used to. Now it's a lot more low key. It's a bit more normal, I would call it.
Yeah. And some people are, some people aren't.
Yeah.
Comparison is the thief of joy.
Yes.
So just agree on something that is a good package for your family.
Yeah.
And if it is, and if it's going to be a better life here, then do it.
Just don't assume this person's getting this person's getting that. Like Carly said, do what's best for you. Work out your budget, your financial situation back home and here. Get to know, schools and compounds and pricing, and see what's best for you.
Yeah.
And then work around that package. Is this package going to work for me? Is it worthwhile me moving? Is it not?
Exactly.
Because I can't compete with Carly. She can't compete with me. We're two different people. We're going to get different, benefits, different packages.
Yeah.
Everyone's in a different situation.
All I know is what we were offered. I was like, I'm happy to move to Riyadh. I'm happy to uproot my life. I'm happy to quit my job, to do this move. There were different benefits. They weren't just financial. There's different things that came into that. And so everyone's going to have their different priorities, their different reasons for coming here.
Yeah.
Probably 100% a part of it will be money, but there will be other things. For us, if you follow me on TikTok, you will have seen I was just in the 0 degrees English countryside. I wanted to change from that. It's not just financial. So let's be real. It's not. But for some people, maybe it is. For some people, there'll be other things. So you've got your thing, and then don't compare against other people once you get here. Just know that you were happy moving here for whatever the situation was.
Yeah. So compounds, what are they actually? We get a lot of questions around that. And I actually didn't know what to think about it. I thought it was normal to live in a compound.
Me too.
I didn't think it was normal to just go live somewhere local.
No.
And I'm finding out that was a misconception, and that was completely wrong, because you can live out anywhere.
Yeah.
In the community, with the Saudis, immerse yourself in the culture.
Yeah.
Everything is completely normal. It just depends what you're looking for. And at the time, I thought it was normal to live in this gated community. I thought we had to be honest.
That's
completely honest.
That's what people don't realize. They're like, why did you live in a compound? I'm like, I thought that not that it was the law to, but like getting up to that level, everyone does. You have to. You're going to be crazy if you don't. And we're here to dispel that.
Yes.
You don't have to.
You don't have to.
But if you want to, then you're moving.
You do have those options.
Yeah. And it's obviously just expats moving to these compounds. I feel grateful that we moved to one that is a bit more of a, they actually don't call it a compound.
They don't call it a compound. Ours is, we have local Saudis that live here. So ours is kind of a mix of local Saudis and expats. So I wouldn't really call it a compound.
Yeah.
It's not your gated compound that you can't see outside.
We go to local coffee shops every day. We are out and about every day. We're dressed for Riyadh. So we ended up in a little bit of a middle ground. And so I'm happy and grateful for that. But I do feel like, to dispel like anybody who is moving here and they're like compounds, not compounds, maybe they're not even considering not compound. I just want to say you can, but I think there's a lot of benefits to living that first year and making friends.
I think so too. I think it was a good option. And I think, you come in, you don't know anyone, new country, new community, you kind of, I get a lot of comments of people feeling lonely and not having that help.
Yeah.
And I look at them and I'm like, oh, you really feel for them.
Yes.
And I think it's important to get that community of people around you and feel comfortable when you're in a new place, because you can't really immerse and enjoy a place unless you feel good within yourself as well. So I definitely think that a compound or somewhere more community vibe would be a good starter option. And if you're happy and you find your people, then later on it's so much easier to just move off compound and get those beautiful villas with your own backyard, your own pool, and so much space.
I think that's kind of what I was thinking, because when we moved here, it's like I knew that properties would be open to expats buying in the near future.
Yeah.
And so I kind of thought, let's do a compound for the first bit. Let's see if we want to stay, if we want to go. But if we'll be here for a while, maybe we look at buying eventually. Because right now we're in an apartment. It's much smaller than where we were before, but that's fine. But maybe eventually we will look at a bigger place, somewhere we buy. Maybe we'll stay. I think the biggest thing for me about the compound and why I like it, even though we're in a little bit of that in between, but what I could envision people like about the more gated ones is, first of all, for kids, Saudi is safe and Riyadh is safe, but they're confined. And so they can't run away from you. They can't get out and get up to things. Like, that's the safety aspect of it, is they are confined. They can go scooter around. There's not cars zooming by. There's not, it's that aspect of it. It's not like safety in terms of they're going to get kidnapped or whatever. It's the cars, it's the traffic, it's them getting lost.
You don't have to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Some of these compounds have their own, basketball courts, soccer pitches. They have their own indoor, play areas and bowling alleys and, outdoor pools, indoor pools, massive gymnasiums. They have their own restaurants and coffee shops. You don't have to leave, but that's something that I didn't want. I wanted to be able to leave. I love that we can just, jump in the car or, leave the compound, and a 2-3 minute walk, you're at your local coffee shop. You're at, you've got a supermarket.
Yeah.
I want to be able to do these things. I don't want to be stuck at a compound.
Yeah. And no shame to anyone who wants to do that.
Oh, definitely not.
Yeah. I've always been a little bit more of a adventurous person. Like,
me too.
I like to get out and about. Like, I get really stir crazy really quickly. And I love that we can just go out and do, every single week we're going out and doing stuff. It's only when we are like, no, we have to record, that we're staying in.
We kind of get anxious. We're like, oh, we have to be here.
Yeah. But we like to go do stuff. And I think that is pretty common for people that live kind of in our community. And I think people enjoy that. They like that we're like getting out, we're going and doing things, we're exploring. It's what we like to do. And then there's some people that just want to stay on their compound. They want to be a bit more of like the homebody, I guess, vibe. That's fine too. It's like, I
want to experience the Saudi life. Why did I move here? That's just me personally. I know some people like being, more at home and feeling comfortable and having everything around them. But I'm the type of person like you. I just want to get out. I want to do things.
Yeah. I want a road trip. I want to go to but I think that's the biggest benefit of like a compound. Like, I do like that we're in this in-between place.
You find that community.
Yeah. Find the community. Your kids find their community. Your kids can bike around like it's the 50s and they can bike around and they're in a safe neighborhood. I love that.
There's security everywhere. You know, you don't need to worry about anything.
Yeah. I've lost my wedding ring today, and we have the security team walking around looking for it. You know, it's little things. It's things like that.
Oh, let's not talk about it.
Vesna's more stressed about it than I
think
am.
I've got more anxiety over it than her.
Yeah. One thing I would say is I feel like people think that compounds are like luxury resorts. I wouldn't call them luxury resorts. I would say they have a residential resort vibe to them. And if you've lived in a residential resort, like back in Vancouver, I lived in one, or like a residential hotel.
Yeah.
It's not quite the same. They're nice places to live, but it's not like a 5-star hotel. And so for me, I love that we chose here. And then when we want to go to a 5-star hotel, we book a hotel and we go to one and whatever. But that's not quite what a compound is. Like the pools aren't 5-star hotel level. The gyms aren't necessarily 5-star hotel. But you know, you might be at one where the pool is amazing or the gym is amazing. I didn't see one where everything was 5-star. You know, we have to do a more, what I want Vesna and I to do is to tour every single compound for you and show you what maybe you can't see. And because it's so tricky, even today for this episode, I was like, give me the top 5 compounds in each popular area. And it was giving me the wrong information. This is why I like sharing about this, because if you're moving here, there's so much unknown. And I want to do a little bit more research.
And it's misleading,
yeah,
you know?
Yeah. Anyway, that's on the horizon. Let us know if you're into that, but that's on the horizon.
But like you said, there's bigger compounds, there's smaller compounds, there's, you know, newer compounds, there's older compounds. You're always going to have to give something to get something.
Yeah.
You're not going to have everything.
Yeah.
You know, you might have a lot of space, but you'll have a more dated villa or whatever you may choose. But at the end of the day, it's what you want and what fits best for your family. I actually wanted to downgrade.
Yeah.
I came from a big house with a
Downsize.
pool. Yep.
Yeah.
Downsize, downgrade.
Not downgrade. You wanted a nice place, but a downsize.
I wanted something new,
Yeah.
but something smaller. I was sick and tired, to be honest, of going up and down stairs and cleaning. And, you know, you forget something, you have to go back up. You know, the pool, the maintenance. You know, my husband was always working, so I had to take care of everything. And it's a big responsibility. So coming here and knowing that you just move in, the lawns get cut, the pools and the saunas are all maintained. You don't have to do anything. And having a smaller space,
Yeah.
I feel like I've upgraded.
100%. I feel the same. We had an old English country house and we had to go back recently for that trip and like clear it out. And oh my gosh, I was just like, can you imagine if we had to keep cleaning this? Like it's like 5 bedrooms, multiple floors, up and down the stairs. I have to constantly check that like my daughter's not falling down the stairs because they're super steep. It like old house, you know, it's just like so many extra stresses, and it is nice to just
But
simplify.
you don't realize it until you come here and then you experience a different lifestyle and you realize that you don't need that much in life to be satisfied. I'm really enjoying the more simplistic life, to be honest.
I think that's exactly it. That's part of what's making us happier here.
I think so.
It's like the sunshine, it's the simpler life. It's that simple vibe of like, it's like the social aspect that you maybe weren't getting. I wasn't like, and it's all these little things that.
And you're always so busy. You're stuck in this rut of like this, you know, big city lifestyle. It doesn't need to be like that. It can be super simplistic and so enjoyable.
Yeah. Quickly on the areas, because you're probably wondering what are the best areas. We're just going to quickly run through this. As I said, we're going to do a more full-on episode on compounds at some point soon. There's Khartouba. This is probably the classic expat zone you know about. It's got the, you know, all the ones you've heard of. The Al Naklas. It's Al Bustan's not too far. It's the Wadi Khartouba. It's all of these kind of compounds. It's close to the British School. You've probably heard of this area. It's a solid choice. Solid choice. Lots of expats in this area. There's also kind of further, there's Diriyah, there's Antara compound. That's a really nice area too, but it's across the city. I won't be hanging out with someone who lives over there just because it's an hour drive. There's Hitton, which is kind of more central. That's like a good area too, but I feel like there's less compounds there. But it's very central and you're in the middle of things.
So there's also DQ. It's also a bit more secure. That's the diplomatic quarter. It's where all the diplomats live. There's schools there as well. But I think more diplomatic people live in that area.
Yeah. And then there's some areas we haven't explored as much. There's Alea, and that's supposed to be like a really nice area, a bit more upscale. And then there's Arabi, which is more like families area too. To be honest, I haven't heard as much about Arabi. If I was you, my experience, I think Khartouba, there's a lot. That towards Diriyah, Bujeri Terrace, that's really nice, but it's far. So that's like a different area from Khartouba. And then Hitton, that's central. Yeah. That's good too.
There's so much being built out. And the moral of the story here is Saudi is so big. It's so spread out. So when you're choosing where you want to live, pick something that's, close to your school and kind of get that package deal.
Yes.
I know some compounds offer, buses to schools and back. Ours don't do that, but we're super close, so we don't really need that.
Yeah.
But if you're planning on living somewhere, just maybe check those options as well and what's included and what's not, because you don't want to be picking a school, somewhere on the other side and then living somewhere that doesn't have that option of, getting you there or getting your kids there or helping you out.
Even a 15-minute school journey could turn into an hour.
Definitely.
I'm not joking. So that's important. It's really important. We need to do a whole nother episode on this, on compounds, on the combo, like on choosing.
The combo.
We need to do some tours. So let us know where you want us to tour, because we will do it for you.
Yeah.
If you're away and you can't do it yourself, we'll do it for you. So leave that in the comments. Anyway, we are out of time. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in.
and bye.
Bye.